Hello everybody. Look, today guys we're going to be looking at Microsoft Teams and how you can use it in your classroom. Alright, so this is Microsoft Teams. And you notice I have a series of classes already made up. I'm going to go ahead and create a new one that we're going to use as a demonstration. Now to create a new team, it's pretty straightforward. Alright, so you're going to go up to join or create a team and just create team. It's pretty straightforward stuff right here. Now you've got a few options to choose from, be it staff, professional learning, others, or class. Now I'm going to set it up as a classroom, and give it a name. Now you can write in the description if you want. It's not necessary, but it's up to you. Alright, so once you created a class, it gives you the option of adding a student or adding teachers. So if you were adding a student, you just type in the student's email and you would hit add. Now if you have multiple students that you want to add, you're better off just going in, getting a list of all the students through whatever management you're using. Find their names, find their usernames and emails, and just paste them in all at once. Same with teachers. Now I'm going to add in a teacher. Now a lot of times it will drop down and give you a list of teachers that potentially be on your network. If you can find them, go ahead and select them. Now, you can have as many teachers on board, as many students as you want. You can always go back in time and edit. So if a student leaves your class, you can go ahead and remove them from Microsoft Teams, or a teacher. You can remove or add more. It's really up to you. And whatever circumstances, I guess, pops up. Alright, so I'm just going to navigate through the actual interface of Microsoft Teams for you. At the top corner, we have our general. Right here would be your stream, where you can set up comments, communicate with students, or the whole class I should say. You have a few options down here, from formatting your text, adding an attachment to it, putting in some emojis. There's also GIFs in there, some stickers, Meet Now, which is going to be really important later on, and Stream. You have Praise, and then you can add as many of these apps as you want. So I have Quizlet installed. There's a few options where you can add more. There's a few lists already in here. So something like Microsoft Forms, maybe one that you would use, where you can create quizzes, questions, and just get general feedback from your students or the teachers. And it'll post straight onto the stream. Now, with Meet, this is where you would set up your conference calls with your students and staff. Post whatever you want. There you go. It's not that hard. Now, notice once you've posted something, you'll have a few options to choose from. You can reply directly to the comment, so students can reply directly to you or staff. Now, with notifications turned on, over here in a little more options menu, you got channel notifications. Let's turn that on. Let's have a look at it. So right now we have all posts. Notify me every time there is a new post in the channel. I have that off. You want to turn it on? Now, banner and feed would mean it pops up if you're using Microsoft Windows. You'll get notifications coming up in your notifications center. And same as Apple. If you're using a MacBook, or Mac OS I should say, you will get notifications in your actual notification center as well. So there's a few options that students can do or staff can interact with a specific comment. You can throw a thumbs up, a heart, you know, just emojis. But if you click down on that little hamburger menu, you got save this message, edit, delete, mark as read, unread, sorry, copy link, translate, immersive reader, turn off notifications. So you can turn off notifications for one specific one. So if there's one comment that's getting bombarded with constant comments, you can just turn it off just for that one individual comment that you put in. Immersive reader is great for those with learning difficulties. If you just click that button, it would read the comment back out to the individual student. Now see, they can click it themselves. You don't have to do anything. That's for you. So if you click it, it's going to read back to you. So turning it on, you're greeted with this.
Ahmed Hamdat Sunday, the 5th of April, 2020 17:25. Hello all, smiley face.
There you go. So that's Immersive Reader. You can customize the Immersive Reader depending on your needs, the fonts, the size of the font, whether you prefer it on black, white, what do you call that? Sunburst yellow, blue, green. Now there's a few other options here. So you can turn on the nouns, the verbs, the adjectives, the adverbs. You can show the labels as well. You can turn on line focus. So students with dyslexia would probably prefer something like this. When they turn it on, I should say, they will be able to navigate and read comments, add to the comment, and so forth. And once you're done, just click out. It's really that simple. Now I'm just going to quickly show you guys the file section. So in files, when it loads, this is where you can post your class materials. So if you have resources that you want to upload, you can place them in there. Students, staff can access this folder and you know, grab what they need. Now, once you click on Class Notebook, it's going to ask you to set up OneNote Class Notebook. As soon as you click this button, you can create a blank one or from an existing notebook content. So if you have an existing notebook that you've created in the past and you want to use the resources from that specific notebook, you can go ahead and import all that data in. I'm just going to go ahead and create a blank one. So it's going to give you the general information about what sections are going to be available. So you have your collaborative space, your content library, and your student notebook. So in the collaborative space, teachers and students will be able to interact with it. The content library, only teachers can interact with that section. Students can view it, copy stuff out of it when they need to. And then in student notebook, where they can control everything and you can control their book as well. So if you want to distribute pages to that book to an individual student, you can. Go ahead and hit next. Now these are the stock standard tabs that will appear for every student. You got your handouts, class notes, homework, quizzes. You can add new sections as much as you want. It's really up to you. I guess it really depends on the subject that you're teaching. Hit create. Now you just give it a second while it begins to load up the class notebook. So once it's loaded up, you can quickly navigate through and have a look. So if I hit this little purple arrow, you'll see that the collaborative space is available. You'll see the content library is available. Now in this section here where it's blank, if I added students to the notebook, you will see the individual students' names and all the pages that, and all the tabs, I should say, that you've given them. So the homework tab and the test tab that we just created before. Now, navigating the OneNote, there's a few options. Now, if you go into class notebook, you can distribute pages, distribute new sections, copy content to library, review students' work. So let's say you set out a homework task for the students to do in one specific tab, and you called it homework. You can go ahead and click on the student review student work, find the homework tab, and it will load up every single student's that specific page called homework. You have your managed notebook, connections. So you can map students. So for example, if you're using Google Classroom, you can actually map students from Google Classroom into OneNote. So if you create an assessment task in OneNote, it will port over to Google Classroom as well. Now, where it says open in browser, you'll have two options here. Now, depending if you have the OneNote apps actually installed in your computer, it will determine whether this second one will appear or not. So open in browser will open it directly in a web browser, whatever web browser is default on your computer. Open an app will open it up in the OneNote app. So if I click on that, and I'll bring it across. Now when you open it up for the very first time, you'll see this little notification. Just a security thing, just say yes, it's all fine. So in here, you'll see it mirrors exactly what you see in the other one, inside Microsoft Teams. Now the good thing about using the OneNote app, it can work offline, where Microsoft Teams wouldn't require you to be online. So if there's network issues, you're better off getting the students or teachers to work directly inside the OneNote app. So once again, once we're back inside Microsoft Teams, I'm going to go up to other sections here at the top. So we have assessments. So if you create quizzes, assessments, or anything along those lines inside Microsoft Teams, you can actually view them and distribute them directly from here. And in grades as well. All right, so I'm going to demonstrate Microsoft Meets and then what you can do with it, besides just having your conversations or your lesson and have them interact with you and so on. So I'm going to go ahead and create a meet and actually call this lesson 2. Really creative with names.
Hello.
Hello. So now I've got my colleague on board. You can start your lesson, or your students will be the same. Once again, I'll explain what's going to happen right here, where you see my colleague's initials appearing. You can actually end up having 4 individual squares. Those 4 individual squares are going to be at random at times. Down at the bottom here, you can have up to 20 or 30 individual squares depending on who's actually on. So the more people are on, the more little squares are going to appear. Whether they turn the webcam on and off will determine if you can see them or not. So only really recently can staff and students actually interact via video conferencing. Is generally what Meet's all about. You can just have the video call or just the audio call with big group session, or you can actually set up a lesson and present something to them. So I'm going to demonstrate the presentation technique. So over here in the share button, I'm going to go ahead and click on this. You'll notice that there's a few desktops available. Now I've got Google Classroom over here. I've just got my normal screens and so on. So if I go to screen 1 and click on that, that's going to show whatever's on that specific screen. Now right now you can see my Google Classroom. If I want to show something within my class, I can, or down here at the bottom, I got Microsoft Whiteboard active. I'm going to open it up. Now, my colleague, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I sure can.
All right, cool. So I can now present and write whatever I'd like. So I'm just going to draw a smiley face. So using Microsoft Whiteboard, if you have a touch device like a Microsoft Surface Pro or Microsoft Surface Go, you can use the stylus and draw directly on the actual whiteboard, like you normally do in a classroom setting. All right, so let's demonstrate how we can collaborate with one another. So there you go. Now, you can have multiple people on the whiteboard. You can have every single student you want interacting with the Microsoft the Microsoft Whiteboard app. Now, you can just download it from the App Store. It is free, or it becomes live depending on what person. So, because I launched Microsoft Whiteboard on my device, it automatically makes it available for every other person that's on Microsoft Teams. So, whatever app that is I'm using, that is Microsoft made, will be available for those students as well. So even if they're using Macs, you'll be able to interact as well. It's opened up Whiteboard directly inside Microsoft Teams. So set up your lessons however you want to, interact with them however you want to. Those are the options. All right, to my colleague, thank you for joining in.
That's all right.
All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and hang up. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.